actually at Kevin's wedding because they had a same day edit.
Oh,
they,
man.
They put it on like 6 screens. It was like legit.
Yeah.
Like,
I think they cried.
They cried.
Nobody had seen it though.
No.
Like, it's not like you could say, hey, Kev, can you revise this real quick?
Entrepreneurship comes with its own headaches, but you're always happy to go to work because you're happy with what you're doing and you're doing it for yourself rather than for somebody else. So we did photography for our first wedding. Had no idea how to do photography.
This goes so bad. This goes so bad.
I had no photography.
No.
I didn't even really know how to operate a camera. Benny, what episode is this?
30 or 31.
This is episode 30 or 31 of the Real Talk Podcast. It's your host, Joey.
And Thomas.
And if you like what you're hearing, please like, subscribe, and comment down below. TP, how are you, brother?
Good.
What a day. We had a nice, relaxing couple of days.
What a day. Yeah, honestly.
I like it.
Yeah.
JT came in.
JT came in, showed us his sick footage from Alaska.
Yeah, dude, that dude is going everywhere. Dude, you got to check it out on Instagram. If you're not following JT already, give him a like, give him a comment, give him a hug,
No. Don't just go up to JT and hug him.
So what's up, dude? How do we intro this? We had 2 fucking podcasts already today.
How you feeling later in the day compared to earlier in the day?
Yeah, see, we rarely do night podcasts.
Yeah.
But I like it. I think it's a whole different vibe. That's why, do you see my getup right now?
It's nightlife.
Yeah, this is Nightlife Joe.
Nightlife Joe. Who do we have on tonight, Joe?
Tonight, we have Luke Kustra, a business valuation and litigation consulting specialist and a co-founder of Media X Marketing and videographer for weddings and events. With a focus on providing exceptional services in forensic accounting, Luke has a proven track record for delivering successful outcomes for attorneys and business owners alike. He is a great cook in the kitchen, an intelligent investor, and an even better friend. Everyone welcome, Luke Kustra!
Awesome. Welcome.
What's going on?
You've
seen Nighttime Joey a couple times.
Nighttime Joey, classic.
Classic Nighttime Joey. This is one of the first boys we had on the pod.
What an intro. That was a solid intro.
Solid intro, right?
Yeah.
Do I describe it all?
Hold up.
All right, Tate.
Tate's too comfortable with Luke.
I don't know if I want to describe it all. That's a whole lot to describe. Can we start off light? Like, what's going on with you guys?
Living life.
Same. It's probably like our slowest week of the year so far.
I'm stoked about all the podcasts that you guys are doing. I've been listening to them.
Yeah, I know you're a big podcast guy yourself.
Big podcast guy.
What's it like being on your first podcast? What were your thoughts?
It's strange. Well, so you think about this coming in, right? Like, how's this going to be? And it's crazy, like, the production level that you guys have here, first of all, is so, like, legit. And then, like, think about how people feel going on something like Rogan.
Yeah.
Where it's just, like, it's, like, mind-boggling where how many people are watching something like that. And it's just, like, damn.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You got to be nervous coming into
Yeah,
something
100%.
like that.
Yeah, I remember the first one we did.
I was nervous. We didn't know what the fuck to talk about. We had no outline. We had nothing.
We did no planning. We were sitting down with Bishop, who we thought, like, this is going to be so easy. It's Bishop. And it was not the case at all. Like, we were, like, maybe 5 times throughout the process, we both looked at each other like, what? You got something? Because I don't got
questions
nothing.
lined up. You got to be actively thinking about, like...
Yeah, you got to have some sort of prep to it. Like,
yeah.
And it's tough. Like, we don't want to prep too much to where, like, I always think, like, a lot of people we have on, like, nobody knows about. So, like, I don't want to do too much research to where then I'm asking questions based off of, like, the stuff I already know. So it's like going into it with knowledge of who you're sitting down with, but also like still having that same curiosity about like what they do and their mindset behind things.
Yeah. And I think it's different too when like you have a podcast with someone that you know, like who you're comfortable with.
Right.
And people that for the first time meeting TV are just walking in the door like, oh, hey, what's going on? And it's like more of like a marketing transaction, you know?
Yeah,
what I mean?
100%.
It started off first where it was like people we knew. Like let's say like the first 3 ones was like people that we already knew, and then what was the first one where it was like someone we didn't even know? Shawty Sin, yeah, but that was great. And I think everyone that we came on, we built like an awesome connection with. Which is
what was the mindset going into something like that? With the first time you were doing something,
it was kind of more like making sure we were a little more prepped than maybe we usually like. Like I think that was the episode where I was like, all right, Joe, like we have to sit down like before the podcast and actually talk about what you want to touch on, what I want to touch on,
right.
Yeah. And I appreciate you listen to like a lot of our podcasts, right?
Yeah.
And you've probably seen our at least growth between the last like 20 episodes for sure.
Yeah, and I'm always surprised at like how chill people are during the podcast too, because these are regular people. They're not going on TV shows or in front
Yeah.
of cameras, or again, you guys have all this production here, and it's like it's crazy. I mean, but at the same time, like feeling nervous means you're alive, right? You're doing something exciting.
Exactly.
Yeah. If you're never nervous in your life, are you actually doing anything?
Exactly. So I want to bring you on too, because you were there since day one of Media X Marketing.
Day one,
That's
day one,
crazy.
boys.
Yeah. Do you remember when I kind of came up with the idea? Do you remember any of the first interactions we had about it?
Well, I guess we could dive into it. It's like, I don't know if you want to do a long story, or you could start from the beginning.
Let's start from. I'm curious
Because Joey's given his like cliff notes of how MXM started on the podcast before, but
yeah,
I was there for like the
real-
complete origins.
I want to know where like it originally.
Dude, it was
came
sketchy.
from.
When Joey started MediaX Marketing, first of all, you were like, Joey was in like a different place, like a darker place almost. Because
Dark,
and you've
Joe.
talked about it, like working the 9 to 5, not liking your job.
We'd constantly
not-
go out. We'd party every.
But,
pretty
but,
much
e-
every
but even
day.
then, I remember you used to sleep in late. Like you sleep till like 9 and then go to your job at like 9:30, and now you're up at 2:30 in the morning. Whatever.
No,
Sitting in the hot
That's how
tub
I'm going to bed. Joe's posting that he's at the gym reading a book.
because you're excited to be awake, right? And if you're not happy with your life, you're not excited to be awake.
Yeah.
And I like sense some of that going on with you. And I mean, starting from day one, like Joey finished college, moved back from California. I think we both had just graduated from college, and we moved back to New Jersey, and we're chilling, and we were just hanging out over the summertime, here and there. And I remember you talking about wanting to move out of your mom's house. I think you might have been staying with like your aunt or something at the time. And I was like, yeah, I want to move out too. And like we didn't really know each other. We went to the same high school, but we weren't like friends. And so we went and looked at like two places, literally two places, an upstairs place, and we were like, there's no way, we're gonna be way too loud here. And then the basement. And we wanted to go see the basement, and we're like, all right, let's move out. and it was a 3-bedroom, and we called our other friend, and he never looked at the place, nothing. He was just like, Joey was like, yo, you're moving out.
Oh,
You're moving out. We're taking this lease. And Nick's like, what? Like, what are you talking about, dude? He's like, no, you're moving out. The next day we signed the lease, and we moved into this apartment.
that's crazy.
And we had an extra dining room or something.
Yeah.
And so Joey like put some of his gear in there, and then at some point you built a studio inside the dining room. Like you put like a green screen in there, you had speakers, you had some like lighting set up. It was so bootleg. And I remember we were just chilling, like not doing anything productive, just going to work, drinking all the time. And I remember you always talking about wanting to do things, and I know you had like, your background in photography and making videos and editing, and you went to school for marketing, I believe. And you were working in marketing, and the job, even though you didn't like that job, I feel like it did.
It helped me.
It helped you a lot. It helped you focus in. It helped you build some of your editing skills. Honestly, you got to do like tryout things, like learn how to fly a drone there.
Yeah, exactly.
You crashed your first drone.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna love this episode.
Yeah, so my first job, they get a drone. They're like, oh, dude, we need you to film all this stuff. They're like, can you film it in the warehouse? I'm like, sure, why not?
Yeah, I mean that's being a.
I put it up. As soon as I put it up, took a sharp left, hit one of the walls, drone down.
Drone down.
I was shook. I was like, damn, dude, they're gonna fire me.
It was one of those original drones too. That was just like
It was one of the
bulky.
Phantom 4s, the big white ones.
Oh
bulky.
yeah. You know who has one of those? B Coots.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but so that job, like, it helped you. It provides you with some of the skills that you use every day now.
Yeah.
It was just a shitty job, and I remember you always talked about like you want to do this and that, and you knew I kind of had like a background in just being kind of creative, or
Yeah.
I have like decent art skills.
He paints.
And
Oh yeah, check. He did the sign.
Oh yeah, dude.
all the artwork in
Fucking
your
sick.
And so you're like, hey, like, do you want to do anything? Like, maybe we should start like a business doing something. And at first, I think we were only doing digital marketing. We were going to like door to door,
Yeah, go to
trying to
pizza
ask
shop.
people if they
No
needed
way.
like.
We got one client.
One client.
Fuck it.
And then we just randomly started taking like random gigs. We did like a first birthday party.
with someone from he actually like his actual job, like recommended us for
Yeah,
a
just
first
like,
birthday party.
anything we could get. And we're like,
We would drive like 3 hours away to the middle of Long
Oh,
Island
yeah.
and honestly, if I
to
could
make
go,
$400.
Yeah.
if I could go back, I would honestly refund those people their money, bro. You're using the jankiest equipment.
No.
The
We had
jankiest
no
job.
idea what the fuck we were doing.
I mean, yeah, that's how
our
it
first
is.
gigs, right? Like
Yeah.
we got to learn somewhere.
Yeah.
But,
100%.
And honestly, like we were charging such dirt cheap rates. I think we were charging like $500 for a shoot, like an all day shoot and an edit.
And driving up to Long Island.
It's actually to
Oh,
Long
yeah.
Island.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
And then eventually, like, it just started snowballing, and I remember I kept telling you, like, hey, like, if you want to do this, like, do it as your dream. And you're all nervous. I remember when you were thinking about quitting your job, I was like, if you're gonna do it, just do it. Like this is something that's gonna provide you something that you're gonna be happy with. And you were all nervous about telling your mom, and then I think you ended up like telling your mom, and I was like, she's gonna understand because she knows that you're gonna excel in what you do. And I just saw it change you as a person. Like again, when you were working at that company, like it was like dark days because you weren't enjoying your life. Like you weren't focused on propelling yourself as a person. And then you built your own like even though entrepreneurship comes with its own headaches, right? Like you're never clocked out. You're always clocked in. But ultimately, you don't have that boss looking over you every day, right? Like you're your own boss. You make your own schedule. You don't have to ask somebody if you could take a day off because we want to go somewhere. Or not like you're your own boss. And there's something I think exciting that I see with all of our entrepreneur friends, where they're just happy to go to work every day, even though there's hard days, there's shitty days, there's good days, but you're always happy to go to work because you're happy with what you're doing and you're doing it for yourself rather than for somebody else.
Damn. And
I give that one. That was good.
That was great. That was clippable. Clip that, man.
Clip that. I'm gonna put some like cinematic.
No, and I really appreciate that because I remember back in the day, like me and Lukash, we literally lived together. We were fucking some dumb 20-year-olds.
Right.
You know what I mean? And for someone to believe, I think Lukash was the first person to believe in MediaX marketing.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, and like I just remember sitting on the couch and I was like, yo, what fucking should I name this shit? I'm just like looking up Instagram. And I was like, MediaX marketing is Instagram. Like, oh yeah, let's just get it for now.
Yeah, we got the business registered. We were gonna take a small business loan from your grandpa, I believe, to try to fund some like the capital up front. I don't think we did that.
No, we never did.
We just funded all of the initial equipment with
just our fucking jobs.
Earnings.
Yeah.
Or jobs, you were stacking money from your job, but then also just from every job we did, we immediately would go right back into the business.
Yeah.
Try to get equipment, try to get better stuff.
Yeah.
And at first we were using like the jankiest equipment you've ever seen. We had different types of cameras.
Yeah. So if I hired you guys back in the day, what should I expect?
5D Mark III, A7 S2.
That was even the beginning equipment.
No, the beginning was a Nikon D70-100 and an A7 II.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. It's rough equipment.
Yeah.
So like one video, one photo.
Yeah, it depends on the gig. We did the grand opening. Me and Lukash did the grand opening of 22 West.
Oh yeah, we did do that.
Really?
The grand opening. Wow. And that built that whole relationship with Kevin, and it's crazy how that kind of is like one of our like bigger clients now, right?
Yeah.
The first shout out Corinne, like you knew Corinne, like, and that connection kind of established like what Kev like has now, which is crazy.
That's crazy.
Corinne is Kevin's wife, and I knew Corinne through high school. I would hang out with her sometimes, and yeah, Kevin's awesome. Kevin's killing it, right? And I feel like you guys have both been instrumental in each one of your businesses and propping each other up.
Yeah, 100%. You want to hear a funny story about when me and Lukash went to a? Do you remember this? We went to a hookah place in Edison to try to pitch them social media.
The place is so grimy. It's hot and cold or something like that.
Iced and hot or something.
Where was this?
In Edison.
In Edison?
Yeah.
We walked into some basement and we just talked to this old fucking dude. And I don't know, it just was weird because it was a hookah lounge.
Yeah.
And the only thing we had to show the people as like
their
example,
birthday party.
we would do just random like shoots for free.
Yeah.
I believe we did
Evolve
for free.
That's our very first video.
Video, yeah.
Randy,
Wait
you
a
at
second.
least owe us getting on this podcast.
Wait, like on Main Street, the Evolve?
Yeah.
Evolve, yeah, that was our very
Because
first.
that
was the first video that I saw where I started following you guys.
Oh my gosh.
Because I was going around in Somerville and it was like, oh, if you guys need free video work or whatever, like I'm looking to just do work. And they had already had stuff done by you guys.
That video was sick because it was one of the first videos where we were like, we need content to show people what we could do. Otherwise, nobody's going to hire us. And that was the first video where we like took our time and like edited it perfectly, like the music, everything. And and we used that video for marketing purposes a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. So
Randy, you posted it the other day. I feel like not the other day, but like a few months ago, maybe.
Really?
Yeah, Randy was also an OG believer, which was crazy.
I remember it was the first time you flew the drone over Somerville, and you're so sketched because there's just so many power lines, and you weren't good at it. I think you had just maybe bought that drone, or we borrowed it from somebody.
Sounds like that was my work drone.
Oh, it's a work drone, dude.
Do you remember our first wedding?
Our first wedding. I don't know if I remember our first wedding. I remember our first.
No, I remember our first wedding.
Oh, the first wedding.
We shot photo. I'm not gonna put any names in this, but we shot
geez.
photo with Corey was the DJ.
forgot about that. We did photography for our first wedding. Had no idea how to do photography.
This goes so bad. This goes so bad.
a photo on your Instagram.
At least like you knew how to operate cameras. I had no photography.
No.
skills
I didn't
at
even
all,
really
bro.
know how to operate a camera.
Yeah, it's very very sketchy. Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd that turn out?
They love the photos.
They loved
Oh,
it.
they did?
They did a great job.
Oh, I thought for some reason it was gonna be like, nah, we don't even want to mention names because
Again, we also probably charged like $300.
Yeah, literally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
for how long?
Probably was like the night. I didn't know how a wedding worked. We pulled
Had no
up
idea how to
right
work.
before the ceremony.
Yeah, we showed up for the reception.
I mean, I didn't know that we needed to do bride prep. I didn't know we needed to do family
Nothing.
after. I didn't know. I don't know. We just
You
showed
just
up.
showed up for the reception.
Started
Like, hey,
taking
how'd
photos.
everything go?
Wedding photography is such a funny thing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lukash has been to a number of weddings.
How many weddings do you think you've?
50.
50 at least.
That's all.
Yeah, dude. We did a lot of studio weddings.
Yeah,
A lot of
a
studio,
lot of studio
weddings.
weddings
Yeah.
back in the day.
In middle New York.
Damn, sounds like you guys have laid the foundation for
Yeah.
MXM to thrive.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what you guys are doing today, killing it out here.
Yeah, we're trying to be.
I mean, you affected Benny.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You had an effect on the youth over here.
Yeah, back in the day. Right?
Ben's not that young.
What does that mean?
Like, I'm saying, like, Ben saw the work that you guys did.
right.
Like, you were
You saw
having
me
an
evolve
effect
it,
on
yeah.
others
Yeah.
to, like, reach
That's why
out
I
and get
even
a
sent
job.
out an email here.
It's so full circle. Even just like mentioning Corey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everyone, and I feel like everyone that rocked with us from back in the day is still kind of rocking with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you've maintained a lot of your
does seem
relationships,
like
which is
that.
cool, right? Because that means people appreciate the work.
Yeah. Like we're still doing stuff for. Remember when I started consulting with Aria? That was like one of my big clients. Like I would like drive there and like that'd be like my steady paycheck.
The makeup company too.
Yeah.
I've been working with them for a long time.
It's crazy. And now we're still doing it. Honestly.
You guys are doing it.
So,
Yeah.
like, at what point did you guys go from working together all the time to then it's...
Well, I had a full-time job, right? So
entire time.
I could only focus so much of my attention to MXM. And initially, we did it like like this was gonna be like we do this together. And you know, I saw the passion in Joey to do it. I had a full-time job. I had a different career.
Yeah.
So the way it transitioned was Joey would do all of his commercial work during the week, and if we picked up any weddings, we'd do them together on weekends. And I would just sacrifice some weekends and to continue pushing it forward. And that's kind of what it is now today.
Yeah.
Whenever we just book weddings.
I know,
enjoy
we
doing
were
it
just
together.
talking about it. He was like, any wedding that comes in through MXM, he's like, I'm sorry, TP.
Yeah,
It's
I
gotta
appreciate
be
it.
me and my
Appreciate it.
boy.
Yeah, 100%.
But you guys are both going to be gone, so JT and I are stepping in.
I got a compensation package from Joe for being there from
Day one.
From day
Yeah.
one.
As our prices increase.
These are my dividends paying off, right?
Exactly.
Hell yeah. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
once we're
Like,
charging
right-
$50,000 weddings.
Right for the
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Damn. What was going through your head like the first wedding? Like, you kind of knew what you were doing, but at first you really had no idea. Like, you really started from, I had never picked up a camera having, like,
Right.
you know what I mean?
That's what's different about it. I mean, I had some like very preliminary camera usage. Like every bro that's ever picked up a camera, I started with skateboarding videos when I was a kid. I used to edit and just make horrible skateboarding videos, but that's how you get your start in using camera equipment.
yeah.
But yeah, all of my skills in actually learning current technology was on the job doing weddings,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy. But not only did we have no experience shooting weddings, I had no experience shooting almost anything. I remember it was like you teaching me in our room how to use the camera before a wedding. I would just sometimes show up I mean, you got your office space after a while, and I'd come to your office space and like just mess around with the camera for like an hour before the shoot.
Before the shoots.
Because
Damn.
Joey was constantly upgrading equipment. I'd show up
Yeah.
and I'd be like, "This is my first time using this camera." Like,
That's
But-
crazy.
but eventually, like you kind of like master it. Because again, weddings are unfortunately weddings kind of are the same thing over and over again. And so
Yeah, yeah.
so you get a template
Yeah.
of how to shoot a wedding, and then
Yeah,
you can
for
just
sure.
and now we do a great job. A phenomenal job, I would say, with shooting wedding videos. I see the type of wedding videos that are out there that our friends are putting out there, and they're kind of trash compared to ours. And
No, that's facts. I mean, you guys, I'm the one that have
He edits
edited the last however many, probably like
All
10 that you guys have, probably the last like 10. I'm just thinking about how many weddings.
the wedding
Video-
videography that we do is next level. I don't understand how we don't get more wedding business, because honestly, like the stuff that we're putting out there compared to some other people that I don't even know who people are using, I guess.
No, it's crazy. So my brother's getting married in August, and he had showed me who he was going to hire and for how much. And I'm not there to put down anyone else's like business or anything,
Right.
or like put us up more than anyone else. But I was like, I don't understand how they're like comfortably charging this much for what they're giving.
Yeah, and our prices are competitive.
Oh, 100% competitive,
Yeah,
especially with studios.
just for what we offer.
Yeah, 100%.
Like what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's literally crazy. Like
Yeah.
down to the details. Like
Yeah.
you see a lot. I mean, obviously there's companies out there that are making movies, like
Right,
real
right,
movies, but
right.
they have like a crew of like 5-10 people
Yeah.
for
But
some
also
weddings.
the couple's got to sign up for that, right?
Yeah,
Like, that's a
exactly.
completely different
I mean,
concept.
that's the thing. Like you said, like weddings are all like the same for the most part, with like minute little things like
Yeah,
different between each one. But yeah, no, definitely. But when
Are
you
they
have
gonna
a
have
good,
a smoke machine or not?
yeah, we did a sweet 16. Almost
Oh, we
went,
never did a sweet 16.
almost went. I was backing up, like the girl was walking down the stairs, and I'm gimbaling, backing up with her. And all of a sudden, I hear, "You better move quick." And I look down. It's like one of the sparkler things, like getting ready to ignite. And I was like, "Oh shit!" And then one of the kids walked down right into it.
Those things rip, dude.
Oh yeah, they make for a good shot. The only thing is like
It's wet.
your exposure is
Exposure
set
just gets trashed.
at certain
Yeah.
thing, and then as soon as it goes, you better be ready to shift that thing.
Just gets trashed.
Dude,
You immediately have. You got to stay ready.
It's crazy. So when you guys pull up to weddings nowadays, I'm sure it's like much.
It's
Like you're probably like
it's
a
flow.
lot less nervous pulling up to the
Oh,
weddings,
zero
and like
nerves now.
it's more of just
Me and
like.
Joey have our format down.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
So who
you
takes the grooms? Who takes the groom side? Who takes the
You already
bride
know.
side?
You
yeah,
already know.
Bride side?
Joey's bride side.
Yeah, I figured.
She's
Lukash has
obviously
his
he's nicer.
stand. Lukash knows his shots to get.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he's like- the amount of
It
times
makes
he's done
sense
it-
for him to do the
Yeah.
bride.
Yeah,
He
no,
does-
that does make sense.
Yeah.
The men's side's always like way more like
way more chill.
just button up
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
your thing on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
And he's always on the 7 he's always on the tie, and I'm always on the gimbal.
Damn, that sounds nice. I
Yeah.
film a lot of weddings on my own, and
it's
I
nice. I don't know how
gotta
you guys do
bounce
that.
around.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy that people book one videographer for a wedding because it's
So stressful.
so stressful.
I don't understand it. Like if I'm going to, it's crazy. I personally think I'd rather just have a photographer for the wedding.
It depends, right?
Yeah, I know.
Because I could say that the complete opposite and be 100% right. Because think about how much time photography takes up of your wedding. A significant chunk of your wedding. If you
It
want
does.
legit
No, that's
photos,
true.
it's taking
Yeah,
up
no,
at
never
least
mind. I
25%.
scratched that. I take that back.
Yeah, the guys always fuck with the flashes.
I take that back.
I
feel like
don't want to bag on wedding photographers, right? Because
nah,
they
but
do
they're
a great
way
job.
different than videographers.
They
Like,
do a great job,
I
but
feel like the videographer is always taking like the videographer always has to take the side like, no, I'll work around you.
Yeah, yeah,
like, you
yeah.
know what I mean? The photographer is never like, no, don't worry, you get your shots, I'll just work around
because
it.
their job is stressful, dude. They have to get these pictures. They
I mean, we
promise
did
a certain amount
we
of
did a wedding in Philly where like literally every picture they were taking, they're like, all right, pull up the magazine. Like, what did the picture look like in there? Like, they were trying to get their
The
pictures.
photographer was doing that.
Yeah, they were trying to get their pictures in the magazine. Like, they didn't even
Right.
give a fuck about just enjoying the process. They were like, how do we get our wedding photos in
But
this
that's what
magazine?
your wedding becomes. It becomes a photo shoot, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's something that you got to sign up for. I honestly, like, if I ever had a wedding, there's a 0% chance I would get.
I think it's more like I would just get someone I trust. Like I trust like full-heartedly. I don't even need to tell them anything of what I want. Like that they'll get the appropriate shots, and also just like I want more of like a candid like document.
But think about how hard it is to get like good candid photos.
It is.
Especially during
Well, at least for like video and stuff like that, I feel like.
with video, right?
I mean,
so
it's still tough to like. You gotta like to make a proper like wedding video. You gotta get certain shots. You know what I
100%,
mean?
you got to get certain shots, and there's going to be a little bit of intrusion, right? Like,
Yeah.
But it's not nowhere
Yeah.
to the same extent.
Like you said, like when you're watching, you're like, oh, like people look so relaxed in the chair. Like a lot of people we have on are like making content like daily. Like
Right.
they're used to having like to them they're like, oh, this is perfect. I'm just getting more content for my shit. Like to where this is like we want to sit down and just like
Chop it
shoot
up.
the shit with one of the people that started this thing and like has, you know what I mean? Like I like when we had on like Dante, like we had on one of my boys, like we want to talk about like the business side too, but like also like he had a good perspective on like my come up and like where I came from too.
What's the funniest thing you think you saw at a wedding?
Funniest thing I ever saw at a wedding. It ruined the wedding. It wasn't necessarily funny, but there was. First of all, if you're gonna have a wedding, don't invite your kids. Don't invite anybody under the age of 18. They ruin your wedding.
Yeah.
And honestly,
Yes.
honestly, it should be 21 plus because you're drinking. If you can't drink at a wedding, you shouldn't be at a wedding.
Just makes it easier for everyone.
It makes it easier for everyone. There was this kid that was on the middle of the dance floor, and she was like a 5-year-old girl, and she cried the entire time.
On the mom's dress.
On the mom's dress. Would not let go. People weren't taking care of the kid, and it ruined this woman's wedding. I mean, this is a wedding that they spent $100,000 on, and she had her daughter crying, screaming at the top of her lungs. Everyone was so like fed up that they were just not on the dance floor because they just wanted to be away from the screaming kid.
Yeah.
And nobody like intervened and prevented it. I was like, damn, dude.
That's crazy.
You feel bad for these people, right? Because they put so much of their capital into having this party essentially, and then you invited your kids. Why did you invite kids?
There's like a bunch of situations where I just see like other people like making it more about if I'm at a wedding and my kid starts going off, like I gotta dip. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna sit around and like think about whether or not I'm ruining these people's wedding. Like,
right.
Nah, my kid's not even gonna get the chance to
exactly.
fuck it up like that. Like, I'm gonna be out.
But it was a bride's kid.
Well, it was the bride's
it was a bride's kid?
Nonetheless, don't invite any kids. Don't invite your own kid.
That sucks. That sucks. But I was recently a part of a wedding in Mexico, and one of the brides, there's 3 bridesmaids. Let's hope none of them watch this, but they don't. There was 3 bridesmaids, and one of them, by the time the speeches came, it was like a short wedding. So like by the time the speeches started, she was trashed. Oh, like didn't even make it to like any part of it other than, and like the whole time, her and like the friend that she brought to the wedding, people are giving their speeches, and in between each sentence, she'll be like, I was always there for da da da, and they'll be like, woo, and then she'll say one more sentence, woo, and then at one point the girl drops her glass because she's so fucked up, and we were just all like, all right, maybe they'll stop now, because they realized, and it was not the case. And she ended up, right after the speeches were done, someone had to drag her to her room. Like, she was so done up.
How I Met Your Mother, Woo Girl? You remember
Yeah,
Woo Girl?
exactly.
Yeah, Woo Girls get crazy. I always tell brides to pace themselves drinking-wise, like, common mistake, right? You just get drunk at your wedding. And then,
I never suggest, like...
drinking in the morning.
No.
Honestly, like, I just think it's all a mental game. Like, if you feel like, oh, my God, I got to drink to ease the nerves, and, like, I don't think one shot's going to do it for you.
Right.
Like, you got to... It's more of a mental thing. If you're taking a shot, like, it's more of just like mentally, like something inside of you. But I always kind of like try to have some time like with the bride and the groom, like by themselves, and you'll always sense some. Not always. There is some people out there that really are just, they don't give a fuck about the day, and not give a fuck, but like they're not feeling the pressure of everyone being there. Like they're living in the moment with each other almost.
Which is crazy to me, honestly.
Yeah, nah, it is. I mean, my brother's about to have a wedding. He's gonna have 200 people. Like, I didn't even know my family knew 200 people.
Exactly.
Like,
I know like 8 people, dude.
I think I sent you the date for that.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys pulling up?
Yeah. Pulling up. We'll be there.
That's what's bonkers about weddings to me, bro. It's 200 people, 100 people. But how do you know
That's
150
what's up.
people? You don't know these people.
Bring an extra camera for me.
Bring an extra camera. He's gonna give him the speech. You gotta get him.
I'll be giving the speech. I'll be with the grooms too. So.
Oh yeah.
I will fully help direct the entire thing. I'll make everyone.
We'll
it's gonna be a lot of like. It's gonna be a lot of like older guys, some laborers, some like no one that's ever been on camera or anything. So
sick.
I'm gonna tell them all like the process prior.
Ooh, one of the funniest things I saw at a wedding that we've ever done personally is the person wanted us to do like have somebody say something in front of the camera, and we were like dragging out these people outside and having them like talk in front of a camera. And you guys know most people have no idea what they're doing in front of a camera. 100%. Like they get nervous, they start talking nonsense, twitching out, just and we were trying to get these people out, and I think they were like, a lot of them didn't, English wasn't like their first language at the same time, and like they were trying to say things in front of the camera. It was just a disaster, and they wanted it as part of their video, and I was like, dude, how are we gonna do this?
You know, are people still like ask you guys to like go around with a microphone and like
Sometimes.
ask people like?
You've done that? We haven't done that.
I've done that for Soul before. No, not Soul. One of the series I work for.
Really?
They're just like, hey, can you just like ask a few people things? I'm just like, I guess.
What are your guys' opinions on studios?
I think it's good for the person who wants to learn.
But so my issue with what you just said is yes, it's a way for people that are coming up to learn how to do something, but at the same time, a lot of the studios, they charge a lot, and most of the time they're just getting third-party videographers out there, right? That are people that aren't very experienced, aren't very good.
Hit or miss. It's very because what if you got
You
like
could get
me?
lucky, right? You get
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
It depends when they got us, right? Because they could have gotten us right at the beginning or now, right?
Yeah.
And there's a big difference in
Yeah.
in that too.
Yeah, because we do a lot of stuff through like a lot of the DJ companies that we work for.
Yeah, like I guess my perspective is different because I don't really work like hand in hand. Joe's sometimes like, hey, I got a couple dates. Like, any of them interest you? Like, it's only shooting. This is how much you'll get paid. So, I guess for me, it's like I don't mind the studio stuff, but the only thing is like I'm always shooting by myself when it's studio work, and it's like I'm getting, you know what I mean, like what might feel like I'm getting paid good for the day, but I feel like at times I'm doing double the work. Like
Yeah,
I'm
is double the
stressing
work.
out. Like they want 2 shots and one person. You got entrances, speeches. You got someone might be like, oh, we have a surprise guest speaker, this and that, or anything. Like,
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
This is a PSA to all the brides out there. Be nice to your photographers and your videographers. It's a hard day.
Yeah.
You're running around with very heavy camera equipment, sweating,
Yeah.
and a lot of times there's photographers, videographers we know that have 3 weddings in one weekend.
Yeah.
And so you're on your feet, running around with heavy equipment, chasing people around from morning to nighttime, 3 days in a row. It's brutal.
100%.
Tip your videographers and your photographers.
Yeah.
Do
And
you
if it,
remember when I
Awesome.
I was doing like heavy into weddings and I was doing like 3 to 4 like a week?
Yeah.
That was fucking
Brutal.
insane. Yeah.
Brutal. I remember
No,
you
they're-
could come back and
they're-
just be shot.
they are tolling.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing a wedding. Like the last wedding I did was on that alpaca farm.
Yeah.
I didn't have service from 10 in the morning to 12 at night.
Yeah.
I remember you did a wedding in the city one time where you probably like carried the gear on the train or something, and then you were running around
Dude, I put it in
taking
the fucking-
cabs.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
crazy. That
I
was the
hate
craziest
I
thing.
hate shooting in the city. I mean, when we did the one in Philly, like as soon as we pulled up, I was like,
Yeah.
we had nowhere to park. Like there's
Even when people do have like a church wedding and it's like in the city and the church is in the city, that creates such a hassle. Like you have to set up.
Logistics hassle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
logistics hassle. You got to set up twice.
just like filming in the city too. Like the moment you go on the street with like a big rig and set up, like last time when we were shooting for Dorson, like I had to go out on the street to get like shots, and I was like, "Yo, Eric, like come with me." Like I just know like I should not be going down there by myself. And he came down within a minute. This dude's coming up like, "Did you get a shot of me? Get a shot of me. Can I see it now? Can I see it?" And I'm like,
Dude, it's
the
sketchy.
the closer you get, the sketchier this is.
You're
for
walking
me.
around with like $30,000.
He's like, all right, so where am I going to see this? I'm like, dude, what? That's not how this works.
Can you upload it, dude?
Yeah, you're going to be on the nightly news.
I see cameras doing that now. You're gonna upload it straight off the camera through Bluetooth.
Dude,
or
yeah.
Wi-Fi.
Is that how?
Don't tell our clients that.
No, man. Nah, well, we just made that video. We can just do everything AI. And
Yeah.
Speaking of AI, are you guys on the AI?
Yeah, we're using a little bit. At least for the audio. Like audio cleanup, it's honestly like.
writing is really good.
Writing's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Joe,
Well, it's a
I haven't
language
used
program.
It did the podcast intro.
Interesting.
So how does it work?
So essentially, you prompt it what to say, and then you can kind of just like what I do is I just modify
Yeah.
the prompt. Like,
Yeah,
make it more
just edit it.
upbeat, include this, don't include this, until it works, kind of.
In one of the last podcasts you guys had, I think it might have been the internal pod, you said you used Adobe AI for your sound.
Yeah.
And then your last podcast, you had sound issues.
Bad.
See, the robots aren't
There was-
doing it,
there
bro.
was
You
sound
can't,
issues.
the
Did Ben
robots
do it?
haven't taken over yet.
Huh?
Nah, he didn't use it for the last podcast.
Oh,
The last
didn't use
one?
Yeah. Oh, you did? With the internal one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Damn.
AI's fucking up.
No. So the internal one didn't have sound issues. It was the one with the mental
John
health guy.
Mopper. Oh, yeah. We watched it yesterday. We heard it.
Right at the beginning, like
It was like
5,
in the
10 minute mark.
background and shit.
It's just like the sound kind of just, I don't know, kind of went out.
Yeah, like from like 10 minutes to like 20 minutes or something. It would have like a weird like
Yeah.
background noise.
Was that robots or was that Benny?
I might have
But we haven't tried out like the podcast, like editing, like how it'll cut up an entire podcast for you.
It's just so crazy. Is that ChatGPT 4 though that does that, or is that
No, it's
3?
that plugin.
It's a plugin.
Yeah.
Outsourcing some of my life to ChatGPT 100%.
I kind of want to talk about what you kind of do outside of MXM. You know what I mean?
Outside of MXM, so I work in litigation consulting, forensic accounting, and business valuation. Mostly for matrimonial purposes, but sometimes shareholder disputes, other things like that. Essentially, I value I end up valuing small businesses is essentially what my job boils down to. So I want to kind of relate what I do for a living to small business owners, right? Because I guess it's kind of relevant.
Yeah.
Accounting and finance, I feel like not understanding accounting and finance is the biggest downfall for most small businesses. And it's like, you know, a lot of times people will only understand like revenue, but they won't actually understand what, you know, your cash flow is, your net income is, your EBITDA. People like to talk about EBITDA, right? Or what that even means. And, you know, I like, you said before, I like cooking. Me and Evelyn watch a bunch of like cooking shows, and people are always stoked about opening up their restaurant, and opening up their, you know, food truck or coffee shop. And people are stoked about, you know, making a good cup of coffee and picking out the perfect chair that you're going to put in the corner that's going to be the perfect chair. But guess what? 99% of the people that come into your coffee shop are not going to notice that perfect chair. They're just going to want to come in, get their coffee, and be out, right? Most people get their coffee from 7-Eleven, Wawa, Quick Check. You know, these places don't have a cool chair, right? Yeah. So I like nice coffee shops that are vibey, and you come in and it has a cool aesthetic, and you'll get you pay $6 for a cup of coffee, but it'll be a cool experience, and you do it once. And you might do it once, right? But you go and get coffee almost every day. So I'm at Wawa every single day, right? And so companies like that, they understand accounting and finance, and they focus on making the most profit out of every single customer, versus somebody that comes into just, you know, your small business coffee shop on Main Street in Somerville. They might come in there and it's sick, but you don't have that same profitability that these very, very financially focused companies have.
Yeah.
And ultimately, just not understanding that is a downfall for most businesses, honestly. You know, if you're just a coffee shop that's out there that just started up, you have a 90% chance of failing in the first year of business, right? And it's because a lot of times people come in with like the creative thing, they're stoked about opening up the business and doing the actual business, but they're not focused on the finances, because most people don't understand finances, and that's essentially why businesses end up failing, because they're not focusing on how they're making money, they're focusing on other things.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like I've been trying to focus on more too.
Yeah,
like, in the business
100%.
It's tough, dude. Yeah. It's tough because you got all your stuff going on, and we have a lot of friends that are entrepreneurs, and I always tell them, like, you have all your stuff going on. You need to focus your energy on, you know, running your business, shooting, and you don't have all this time to focus on finances, right? And at the same time, it's hard to find a good financial person, right? Like you're talking about hiring somebody in like an executive position, like a CFO of your company or something, and that person's going to demand a certain level of salary. They're going to have some level of background in doing that kind of stuff. But ultimately, it's essential for every single business. I mean, we have a friend. I'm not going to name names, but we have a friend who they had a financial person come into their business, and they 6x'd their revenue in 1 year, because that person was able to figure out where you're making your money. Business owners will concentrate on the top line, like revenue, like how much money I'm bringing in, but not necessarily on how much money I'm retaining, right? So a lot of times businesses will do a whole bunch of different things to make money, right? Like you guys have the podcast, you do commercial shoots, you do weddings, you do digital marketing, and you have all these revenue streams, and you're maybe devoting all of your attention equally, or some might be getting more than others. But ultimately, what a financial person would come in, they'd figure out all the numbers behind every single one of your revenue streams and be able to make you focus your efforts on what's profitable. And you might say, well, you know, I'm just trying to gather as much revenue as possible, because I have all these expenses. I have employees I need to pay for example. But if those employees only really have a job because you need to bring in more money, and you could be doing less but actually making more money because you're focusing less of your energy on things that are making money and more energy on things that are making you money, and you could be, you know, being in the end result with the same amount of money, but now that you're able to take a day off or something like that, right? Yeah. And I think companies get bloated sometimes, and they try to like expand too quickly almost, because again, another downfall of business. You would think that's counterintuitive, that expanding and growing fast is a good thing, but if you're growing fast with no like, and your profit margins are decreasing because you're just taking on more work, but not necessarily maybe the same quantity or quality of that work. And again, it's just another way for people to. We saw this recently with Twitter and Elon Musk, right? Twitter's a notorious company that loses money. It's always lost money, and he came in and he bought the company for whatever $40 billion, and then he laid off like 20% of the work staff, like through since he took over, he's laid off. I'm sorry, he has 20% of the staff that was on board when he took it over. So he's laid off 80% of the work staff.
I heard that.
And now the company's profitable, right? And now the company is making money. And most Twitter end users, they've noticed zero disruptions in their end product, right? Like Twitter hasn't changed for you other than maybe now.
I'm gonna cut him real quick. He was just like, yeah, you'd be surprised. It actually doesn't take that many people to run this thing.
It doesn't take that much. And a lot of times Twitter grew almost outgrew itself because they kept expanding and doing all these other things that weren't really profitable for the business. Yeah. And for a small business owner, profitability is everything because it's how you pay yourself, and you need your job to pay you in order for you to survive. And then the job needs to make money in order for the business to survive, right?
Yeah.
So people like to not focus on accounting and finance because it's boring, but ultimately it's how.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of the times I forget that I also need to pay the business or pay myself, right? Like I'll account for everyone in the crew, and I'm like, all right, well, I made this much money, but then I don't necessarily sometimes take into account what the business needs for that day or what the overhead was for that day.
And then living in New Jersey, it costs $100,000 to be alive.
Yeah, literally. It's crazy. But I think that's what like pushes me to have like my back against the wall, right?
Yeah.
We just hired an editor, and I think I only really hire when I look around. I'm like, damn, I think we need another set of hands.
Yeah, I mean, it went from kind of everyone being on like a part/full-time hourly / day rate sort of system, and then obviously kind of wiped the slate clean. It helped that some people were kind of already moving out themselves and doing their own things. But I was like, all right, like Joe kind of looked like JT or Thomas, like who can come on full time and kind of take on like a lot of the workload. And JT's not going to sit there and edit like that. And
I mean, Joey talked about money stuff off the scenes, I guess. And so I was stoked when he brought you on because a full-time employee is going to devote their attention. It's their career, right? So a full-time employee that's salaried is going to, now this job is a job to them or a career potentially, and they're going to devote a lot of more of their attention than part-time workers that are kind of, and you know, with videographers, photographers, you know, a lot, they're freelancing, right? So they're used to just taking jobs here and there. Yeah. Him bringing you on full-time, somebody that he could rely on all the time, I was stoked about it, and I was 100% supportive of that.
First full-time person, which is crazy.
First full-time person.
Yeah, and I mean, since then, like obviously, like we're with each other way more, we're talking way more, but like, I mean, you remember like when I first started, like just you touching on everything of like small businesses not really understanding things, just looking at what's coming
learning
in.
Experience every single
day. I mean,
that
was my whole career up to even joining here. Like, I always say like, I took a cut coming here at first, but there was something inside of me that said you need to be around other people that might be at your same level or above you, but you just need to be around more people. And it ultimately paid off. And like Joe, I always say this, Joe the first day was like, I'm gonna look out for those who just do their job, do what they're capable of, like constantly grow. So, but I always noticed like Joe would be on phone calls and he's talking about numbers, and that was never my thing. Like I didn't even understand how I was constantly literally job by job Googling, how much should I charge for something like this?
But it's cool, right? Because now you feel like you're helping the business grow and you're like so much more intertwined.
Yeah, and like now, like he said, like come on full time. Like obviously, like if you still have jobs outside of this, like you can take those on. But like I knew like that's gonna have to take a hit. Like you know what I mean? Like it's always MXM first. Like this comes first. Like there's times where I look bad on like some of my not personal projects, but like I have clients on the side that I might have to say like, hey, I got to get it to you tomorrow instead of this date I originally said.
That's a sacrifice for you.
You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, like I know it's because we might have had a busy week here, but I want to, you know what I mean? Like instead of maybe doing something else for extra income on the side, like I use that as like still have clients on the side that I work with and understand like my position. Like I really don't work with anyone that I'm like, oh yeah, this is just, I just do total and this is only me. Like no, like if you want other stuff like bigger than this, like I'm only sending you this way. Like we just got in something. Yeah, like I'm not that type of person.
Punk rock music video.
Yeah. Like I'm not that type. Like I do music videos, but the moment somebody says, you know, we're looking for something with a full crew and stuff like this, like I'd rather just do it under MXM's roof
Right.
than like do it under Total,
Right.
and then be like, Joe, can I pay you to come out for the day and stuff like that? Like
Right.
I'd rather MXM go to a point that we have multiple.
You're generating sales for MXM, which
Yeah,
is sick.
and having like I'd love if we had more like creative, bigger music video shoots. So I'd rather MXM have something to show for it than like my personal catalog. Of
And dude,
things.
that's smart of you, because ultimately, like, you're growing with the business. The more the business grows, the more you're gonna grow, right? Because you're his right hand man. And you're like, I watch like YouTube video, like business YouTube stuff, and it always bewilders me when somebody comes up with like a company, and then their right hand man at some point leaves, and I'm always like, damn, it's like going through a divorce. Like, how do you help a business grow into like something big, and then just like that?
Yeah. So it's like I don't know, like never like. There's things that he wants. There's things that I might want, but like you got to be able to like talk that through first off. But I always say like we're just at the beginning. Like it's still just like ground level shit. Like like when he made me full time, I was like, damn man, I never thought someone was gonna offer me, you know, something like that with what I was doing, and that feels big. But I'm like, nah. What's big is like when Benny has like a team of people. You know what I mean? And like Joe and I are maybe at a certain spot and we're just calling around like, how you guys doing at this shoot? All right, you guys are good over there. All right, how you guys doing over there? Cool, perfect. Like, or we're just at a point where we're just doing bigger. Like that's what I would love, to where like a client is having us do like a week shoot and they have this grand budget and we get to come from this creative perspective of things.
Joe, what do you think TP has grown in the most throughout his duration at MXM?
I think the leadership aspect of things. I think I'm able to, like, if I don't feel like directing for a day, or if I just want to step back, I can count on TP to get the shots, direct Benny, direct whoever PA is there to get the job done. I don't have to like sit there and like eyeball everything because I know everything's gonna get done.
Yeah, you're a good people person. And
Yeah.
even just on the podcast, just to give you a compliment, I obviously listen to some of the podcasts and you do a good job of asking the guests the questions.
I appreciate
you do
that.
most of the talking. You kind of just chime in a lot of the time. You do most of the
I appreciate it. I mean, like, I was always like, I grew up like as just
Party guy.
But like I was always like, I didn't want to not be friends with certain people. Like I always wanted to treat everyone with like the same respect and give everyone like the same attention.
Right.
And I think like, I mean, I worked in like special needs for 5 years. Like I worked as a financial advisor where I was like getting to a point where I was teaching a big room of people how to cold call and stuff and like talk to people in person. So it definitely came from that. But being around, just like, you can be a good people person, but then like when you come into a, like, can you be a people person in a certain area of things, like to where you can properly explain yourself and like not just like, hey, can we do this? Like I think there's a tone in how you should say things when you're working with talent, or 100%. Like it's like, yeah, there's times where like, all right, I'm not gonna say something as nice, or like I gotta be like when we were like on a commercial shoot not too long ago, like I felt like things were kind of, we didn't have full control over that interview process. So I felt like things were kind of just going off the rails. So instead of like talking to the person who's asking the questions, I just said to the talent, like, this is your shit. Like, I don't know the difference between this and that, but like you like normally your first take's a great take. Like go based off that confidence of like, you know what you're doing. Like, fuck what you might need to say. Just say what you.
And it's cool that you have those conversations with people, because then they get more comfortable and then they just go for it, right? And that's just you doing your job well. I saw recently you were reading How to Win Friends and Influence People, and that's one of my favorite books. I've read it twice technically, once on audio book, but that book talks about like teaches you a lot of those things, right? Like how to interact with people, and I feel like having the skills to interact with people ultimately is what makes you successful.
Exactly.
Honestly, like for example, you have your Instagram page, right? You have the Joey page and you have the Media X marketing page. And where do you think most of your sales come from? It's your personal page, right? Because they're hiring to work with Joey, not to work with Media X marketing.
I always say that shit. I'm like, people like when honestly, it was getting to a point where we were going out on sets and people knew who Ben was already. Like they were saying like, hey, Benny.
Yeah. You guys do a great job of putting out the content out there. Like marketing.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses fail because of poor marketing too. You guys are
I
really
think
excelling
like,
that.
there's obviously like environments in which Joe can communicate and thrive at a level that I can't, and then there's places where I thrive really well. I'm not saying like I can read Joe's mind, but like I know in certain situations when he's trying to like get something out to somebody, whether it's on set, and I like hear it, and I know
he knows what I'm talking.
I know Joe's language.
It's hard. A lot of the times, it's hard to comprehend. If you know me and I say something to you, it'll be like I'll say something and you'll know what I mean, but like the general public, I feel like wouldn't know what I meant.
Why? Are you just being self-conscious about?
No. I just feel like it's like the way I communicate.
I think it's because like a lot of the times like there's a lot of moving parts in some shoots that we have sometimes, and it's kind of on the go. And Joe will have an idea here, and it might be gone the next moment, and like he might like not always like ease himself into like saying it. It might just like come out, and the person's kind of understands what he says but doesn't understand like how they're supposed to take that,
and you help explain it to them.
So then I explain like how that like, all right, what he just said, this is how it's going to affect you and what you're
so he's
about
a little
to
frazzled.
do.
You're a lot more collected.
I have a lot of energy.
I always just explain is like Joe has a lot of things to like look over and like see, so sometimes he's going to maybe handle something a little more calmly, but there might be a time where like he's not just thinking about the shoot we're on, but he has 3 calls after that shoot that day that he might be thinking about it, or he's scheduling while we're doing something, and that's when he's like, TP, I gotta cut to the side real quick. Can you just take over this whole operation? So
yeah, and I think the people person is better, or is a bigger role than actually filming, like because your shot could be overexposed or like a little bit off, but if your customer service is there and the client likes you as a person, they'll like the product regardless.
It's the most important thing.
I think it's like we I think what I'm learning more and more is being realistic and honest with the client. Like I always say, like I want us to tend to the client as much as possible, but I don't want to like lose ourselves in that process. Like I don't want the client to think that it's your way and like we don't have any kind of say over things, or like it is tough when someone who doesn't spend every single day and like their passion towards video and like the marketing aspect of things, and like they're hiring us for it, and we put something together for them, and like they don't sort of see the same vision we see. And obviously like we're gonna change stuff as much as possible, but also like it's our job to explain why this is the case. Like I remember sending out to someone recently, like this was on my personal end, and they wanted me to put one logo before the other. And I was like, I will do that, no questions asked. But I was like, this is why I didn't do it like that, and I did it like this. And they're like, I didn't know that. Like they're just going off a base of what they want, not what they know from like a educational marketing standpoint, or like a film aspect.
You only know what you know.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like when I go get a cut and he's like, how'd I do? I'm like, looks decent. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe you could fade that a little more, but when I go home, I might think different. Like, I don't know. Or like, you know what I mean? Like you go for anything. Like I'm always about just like, I'm big on customer service though. Like I can go to a place and like the food might not be that great, but if I walk in and you're like, hi, how you doing? Like, all right, have a great day. Like, that's a lot.
What's the most frustrating thing you guys run into with customers?
Oh man,
unprepared.
Yeah, being unprepared. I guess not sharing. Unprepared. I guess what you can put under that is like not sharing enough information that like we need to know. Whether it's like we're getting a script the day of driving there, or literally right before, not having an understanding of like how they wanted something laid out. I mean, like we have situations that are
a good situational.
People don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, there's literally.
We try our best to try to describe it.
It's not many people, but there's, I'd say, 1 or 2 where it's their way or the highway, and if not, then it's your issue. And you know.
But then you just do your best to appease those people, right? You give them what they want.
You do your best, and like the hardest thing is like you send out a video. That's not the end of it. like the real anxiety comes from when you send that out. Is the person going to like it? And how many revisions are they going to send back to you?
Yeah.
And it's like when you get the message back of like, perfect, that's it.
Yeah.
Don't need much else. Like, that's a rarity. And like the feeling you get from that will carry me on for like, I mean, still from Montessori. It's like, didn't have to change a thing. And we did like 8 videos. No, way more. Like we handed over like 20 deliverables almost.
Yeah.
The greatest instant gratification like that you're talking about with the client being impressed with a video that I saw you have live or personally was actually at Kevin's wedding because they had a same day edit, and Joey banged out this edit during the shoot, and
how does this work?
It was tough, dude. It was a
Tell
lot
him
of work.
So what do you
a lot of work.
like?
What is the same day edit?
Yeah, like it's just the first half of it.
Nah, dude, it was like the whole video.
With the reception too.
It was like up to the reception. Yeah.
Yeah.
When you up to the that's what I mean.
Yeah, like entrances, toes,
Everything.
And then right after that,
just dancing. We included dancing footage.
Just like we had like a shot
no
or two,
cake.
but-
Yeah.
Yeah, no cake.
Everything but cake.
essentially the whole video.
and so that's so at the end of the wedding.
And we did that for Kevin.
So at the end of the night that everyone can
Before
watch it.
cake.
There was like
Right before cake, they sit everyone down. Kev and Corinne sat in the front.
Oh
They
man,
put it on like 6 screens. It was like
That's great.
legit.
Yeah.
And they showed
how-
the video.
So like
I think they cried.
They cried.
Nobody had seen it though.
No.
beforehand. Like it's not like you could say, "Hey, Kev, can you revise this real quick?"
Joey was in the corner just ferociously editing, just
Freaking
stressed.
out.
Just stressed, bro.
So how long do you think that you had to work? Like an hour?
So I was shooting it too.
Yeah, I know.
Kind of.
I got a lot of the shots. A lot of shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You weren't, but you were mostly.
But
editing.
like the time which you started editing, like I'm sure like you were kind of.
I started editing right after ceremony.
I think you
I
had
had
5
Bert
hours
there.
or something. It was
Remember Bert was there starting to edit?
How long was
Yeah,
the
yeah,
video
yeah.
supposed to be?
It was
like 2
3 to 5 minutes.
Yo, what the
No,
fuck?
It was like 3 minutes?
3 to 5 minutes was, I think, the video we gave him afterwards, but the day of it was like maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yo, that is
It was
nuts.
legit, dude.
Yeah.
People cried. It was the greatest instant gratification I ever
Yeah.
saw from Joey. He was
I was
just
like,
stoked.
Yes.
Because he was so nervous. He was stressed all day.
That was
just-
probably the best night of your life up to
And
that
it's funny,
point.
and it also was a big stress because it was a lot of the kids you went to high school with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was people we knew. There was a lot of people that we knew there.
Yeah, Corey was there. Shout out Corey again.
And when was that? Like, you guys were pretty established in weddings
Like
at that point? Or was
We
that
had
like,
a 1DX and a
before
5D
COVID.
Mark IV.
Yeah.
so was that one of like your biggest weddings to date at that point?
Yeah.
At that point, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've done.
And Kev had the most fire cocktail hour, but I was freaking the fuck out.
He did have a nice cocktail hour.
We
Very
had
nice wedding.
lobster, fucking beautiful wedding.
Beautiful wedding.
Everything was great.
You guys remember what you charged for that?
Not enough.
I was gonna say, so if someone came to you guys today and was like, "I want that same day edit."
Give me $8,000.
Yeah, $8,000, yeah.
If anyone's out there that wants the same day edit,
It's dude. It was
tough.
It was
no,
tough,
it's
but
not
it was-
easy.
I'd 100% bring 3 people, maybe 4 people. I don't
I
have
mean,
any dumb.
No,
like,
I literally think in that scenario you have to have someone that's not even filming, just straight up
Straight editing,
getting
yeah.
the files, going
Yeah,
through
yeah.
them, and
We
'cause that,
we just have two videographers and an editor, and
was
one
it.
person would just edit it.
Unlike
Yeah.
the Sweet 16, where it's like a tag team.
yeah, me and Bishop did it. Yeah.
That's why I was like, I'm picturing that, but like on a whole nother scale.
Yeah.
Two
I
people
forgot.
editing is rough though, because then you don't know what.
Yeah.
dude, yeah, I don't like there needs to be like a somewhat finalized product before like I feel like before two, I think like one person needs to have the control of it and get it to a certain point, and then you can have someone else come in and then you go through it and then you nitpick it together.
Yeah,
I feel
ideally,
like-
but not
yeah.
not during a wedding.
I feel like just like two people editing at the same point at the same time is like tough.
I would ideally like to have 4 people there to make it less stressful.
No, I'm just saying like that just from like an editing
Yeah.
like standpoint, like 2 people being on like one
On one thing at the same time.
one
Dude,
edit,
it's
one
a cool
edit,
thing though.
not
honestly.
one shoot.
Like we've seen a lot of just random bullshit that people do for their weddings, and I'm obviously biased, but the video during the reception was sick. Like
Yeah.
it was sick.
Yeah, it really. Yeah, and that instant gratification. I think one time I saw it with UTP, as we were driving to a shoot, and you sent out Joe's video, and you haven't heard from him in a week. I'm like, and it popped up on Instagram, and you were so. You were like
God, so it was like this like crazy like
hour-long video.
and it was an hour long like house walkthrough almost, and they were explaining everything to it. It had B-roll, it had all of this, and like before going there, like it was just bad miscommunication on like I would say our end on like understanding like what he wanted. But we shot it, and he was like, I knew like he wanted something around like 20 minutes, but they spoke for what took up like an hour time, and I'm editing this thing, and I'm looking at Joe. I'm like, dude, I'm like 4 days into this thing, and like it's still, because it's a detailed thing. Like I'm constantly like changing up the color grade.
And on a project like that, I lose money.
100%.
Oh, 100%. I like it. Yeah, but I just remember sending it to him, and we were somewhere, and I was just like, yeah, no, I haven't heard back. And then all of a sudden, like I just went on YouTube and he posted it, and I was like, phew, thank God. But I was like nervous because I'm like, I literally said to him as soon as I sent it out, I was like, I can't even imagine the list of revisions I'm about to get, because it just felt like, you know what I mean? Like you work with certain clients sometimes, like it'll feel like that. Mm-hmm. Like they definitely have an idea of what they want.
Any of your revisions?
I didn't get a single thing. I didn't get a text till Tuesday, 2 days after it was posted. It was like, thanks, this is perfect.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
It was posted already.
But then sometimes I've had people post something, and then like a week later, they're like, hey, can you like do this to that and that to that? And I'm like,
you posted it.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you gonna do? Repost it? Like sometimes I'll do it for them too, and like they'll never even repost the video.
Yeah, because
like,
what would the point?
Yeah.
So it just is like I try to just like as soon as I send out a video, just like emotionally detach myself. Like, and just like still have care for it. Like if revisions come in, but like I always know like I'm just banking on something. So like if I expect there to be a shit ton of revisions and someone's like, I got 3 things, it really feels like there's nothing I have to do.
Do you guys still get nervous hitting that send button, or not anymore?
No, I don't really get nervous, honestly, because
really
I feel like anymore. Yeah, he doesn't hit the send button at all. He doesn't even know.
Come up. Doesn't even know.
But I mean, like he never. I was thinking it the other day. I was like, Joe's really never. Like I take care of every single project that's sent out for the most part. He's never gotten an email to the side like, hey, this is. I mean, there's one scenario. We're not even gonna name nothing. But the person must have had like a red filter over their eye, because I must have cooled this video down to the point that it was glacier blue, and they're like, this thing is so warm, and I'm like, dude, I'm freezing over here. I made this thing so cold. But
some people love blue and green.
But yeah,
I kind of want to touch on Lukash. So you do a good job separating the 9 to 5 and also living a life on the side of living a 9 to 5 and having that work-life balance. Because I feel like sometimes, especially in this like weird, toxic, entrepreneurial kind of like social media thing, people kind of either hate on 9 to 5s or, you know what I mean? There's always like kind of like a stigma with 9 to 5s, and you do a good job balancing your life. Like, what's like the key to that? And like, were you always like that? I would say you were always kind of like that. I would say.
Well, first of all, don't get it wrong. I'll watch like motivational entrepreneur videos on like shorts or on YouTube or something, and I'll stress myself out, dude. Like, am I doing enough? Like, am I not doing enough? Like, people are out there doing all this stuff, but I know people always talk about how comparison is the thief of joy, right? Yeah. Because you're always looking at what other people are doing and not really appreciating what you got going on. And well, first of all, I'm appreciative of my job, because my job is kind of a job where I get to not control my schedule, but I bill my hours. So as long as I bill my hours, I'm cool to work whenever. And then that gives me the ability to also, and I'm just like you, Joe, very energetic, and I want to do as many things as possible. So it gives me an opportunity to do other things, right? Like MXM, like shooting the wedding videos, real estate, investing. I try my best in everything I do. Like my boy Joey says, you win some, you lose most. But as long as you do your best, you're about to be successful.
Somewhere on him. So somewhere on that arm of.
As long as you keep doing your best, you're gonna find success somewhere, right?
Yeah. Yep. It's funny. Whenever we go on like group trips, Lukash is always the dad. He's always planning every little thing. He's always freaking out, doing something.
He's always yeah.
I don't know if I'm always freaking out, but yeah, I'd like to be organized.
Yo, I'm not even just saying this to say this. He just reminds me of B. Coots.
Does he?
Yeah, I have a friend who's like, he's the same. Like he's always like I'm not gonna say the same, but he can sort of like be on the go-to with a lot of different things, and like maybe at times like be more maybe frantic towards a certain thing, like making sure like we're going to like a Devils game or something soon, and like I know like that night he's gonna make sure we're there at a certain point and make sure. I'm not that, honestly, like when like when we go somewhere, like Joe honestly takes over that role. Like he'll ask me, like, TP, what do you want to do? And I'll tell him. And then like he'll go ahead and make that happen.
Yeah, we went to the aquarium last time.
Yeah, I went to go to the aquarium in Dallas, and it was not what I expected it to be. There was just like birds flying around everywhere. Like it was like
it was a zoo.
Nah,
Cool,
I wouldn't even say like it was a zoo. It was like a safari.
That's cool though.
It was.
I'd rather go to a safari.
It was, but like it almost turned into like this lined sort of thing. You couldn't just like freely walk around. Like
dude,
it was
there's wild animals out there.
Well, no, like it. I don't know. It just felt like at an aquarium, like you can just freely walk around, and I just felt like
There was thousands of people.
It was just because it was just because it was backed up. No, it was because there was just a lot of people there.
We lost TP at a certain point.
And the
Was
way
it Saturday or
it was on like a Tuesday
yeah, no,
afternoon.
Tuesday afternoon?
oh, it was like a
break.
It was like a 30-minute.
spring
It was a
break, though.
30-minute wait to get into.
How would you
the
describe
place.
it, Benny?
It was like 20% aquarium, 80% other animals.
Yeah.
But it was like
it
birds
said-
everywhere.
it was advertised strictly as an aquarium.
Yeah.
Oh,
It didn't say like Dallas Aquarium
that's
and
janky,
Safari. Like, yeah.
That's
I mean, we
janky.
saw some cool shit there.
We went to Terry Black's. You went to Terry Black's.
I haven't been to Terry
Oh,
Black's.
shit.
but
Where else did we
I know
go?
Terry Black's is fire.
The barbecue.
What was the second spot?
Oh no.
The barbecue spot.
Yeah.
Terry Black's.
That's what it was called.
Places
Terry
like Terry
Black's
Black's
was good though.
in Texas, like the barbecue spots that actually know what they're doing, like their brisket, the mac and cheese. It's just like
Nah,
it
it
boggles your
was
mind.
definitely good. I just didn't like how everything closed so early.
Yeah.
Like we got there the first night at like what 1, 2, and in my head I'm like, oh, we're going to Dallas. Like we're good. Like there's definitely gonna be
Down
stuff
to
open.
Dallas.
We literally went there and I was like, hey, is there anywhere to get a bite to eat right now? He's like, nowhere.
Nah.
He's like, everything closes at 10
o'clock,
on the
yeah.
dot, and I'm like, that's crazy.
Strict drinking laws too.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
Strict.
COVID exacerbated that a little bit, where now businesses close at 9 or 10 p.m. That's very regular.
Yeah.
But I think we're a little bit more spoiled here because a lot of times places will be open here. The city's right there, where the city's open till all night.
I feel like what I noticed most is like a lot of like the like sushi restaurants that I used to go to. Like a lot of them still just don't do dining anymore. Like
Sushi Palace in Somerville.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not.
Any fucks sushi palace in Somerville.
they found out it's more profitable to just have people order it and then take it out. And
They
they
have a
don't
good finance person.
Benny's secretly doing Sushi Palace's finances.
Oh, you thought this was my main thing? Oh.
We told you, Benny never sleeps.
Shit.
That's not healthy, dude. You never see
No, dude,
sleeping's important.
it's great. When we leave, he's here. When we come in,
He's here. Yeah. Basically, Benny works more than me.
Really?
We
I don't think so.
We think he's just there doing this, watching like anime.
Just a bunch of
Yeah.
anime.
Big anime guy.
Yeah.
Big
He loves-
shoes. He's always like, you want a pair of shoes that are dropping?
I'll try to get them.
But that's the thing. He'll try.
He's a sneaker guy.
The sneaker guy.
He's literally put this whole office on, except. Nah, I'd say he definitely put me on because I wouldn't be getting shoes like this and shit. Should we on some rapid fire?
Yeah, let's hit him with it. So we do you watch our podcast. We do the rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So just random
Random
questions,
Yeah.
mostly short answers.
short answers.
Kick it off, Joe.
Favorite hot sauce?
Tapatio.
Wait, is he normally cooking when you guys?
Yeah,
get
he's the chef, right?
Yeah.
Marinara.
It's funny that was your first question because Evelyn and I just watched a video on hot sauce yesterday, and I was like, dude, Tapatio, my favorite.
Shout out
all-time hot
Evelyn one
sauce.
time. Do you have any other boys you want to shout out?
Yeah, let's do a big shout
Let's
out.
do one quick shout out round before we do rapid fire.
All right,
But
Joe.
we'll go in a circle.
Joe, you start.
I'm shouting out Nick. We're going to the wedding soon.
We're going to the wedding soon.
Shout out.
Shout out Evelyn, dude. I love Evelyn.
Shout out Evelyn one time for the one time.
You know what? Shout out my boy Benny over there.
Hey, shout out
Benny,
Benny.
aka
Hey.
Jamie. You guys-
Benny.
Hey,
you guys
shout
know
out
that,
TP. Come on.
How do you feel about him calling you TP?
So it's crazy. Like I don't even know. It only started because like they called JT.
Right.
Nah.
But JT's
Your
like,
shots by TP.
Oh, that was the reason. My Instagram was shots by TP. So they thought like I just
No,
went by.
Firm used to call you TP too. When he introduced me, he used to go, "This is my boy TP."
Yeah, because shots by TP. That's
Right.
what he knew me as. I didn't really like. I only met Firm like in person like 3 times, but Firm and I were just really close over social media because he filmed basketball, I filmed basketball. Like I supported his shit, he supported
You
my
remember Firm,
shit.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
TP is an acronym for toilet paper. Though.
Oh, trust
seem
me,
endearing,
trust me.
dude.
I got that all the time when I was a kid. Like, what are your initials? TP. Oh my god, dude, that's so funny, dude. Like I used to get rocked with that and Thomas the Train. Like people thought they were so original with it. Favorite restaurant in Somerville?
Favorite DiMartino's.
That's a good one. Out of all of our boys, who do you think is most likely to listen to this?
Probably Richie. Just Richie's also day one MXM.
Yeah.
What would you say Joe's favorite band is? And then we'll see if it's right.
Favorite band? Do you consider like MGK a band? If not, maybe. Technically, he's a band, right? He has a band with him.
Favorite travel destination?
My favorite place that I've been personally is actually San Diego. I loved San Diego. I would live in San Diego. I would move my family to San Diego.
If I went to San Diego, like what would I do there?
It's such a cool place because there's like 3 different parts of it that are all in this one small area. Like you have Pacific Beach for like the cool California vibes where people are riding around with like surfboards and everyone's hot, and then you have like I think it's called the Green Light District.
Yeah.
Where it's just like it's kind of like Morristown where it's just like cool
Gas
bars, gas lamp, where it's just
Green light.
where it's like just people like going, like younger people going to bars, like but it's like cool and nice. And then they have like a real like downtown area where they have like a like city life and people going to jobs.
And everyone's just beautiful.
And everyone's beautiful. And it's 75 all year round. It's just you're 20 minutes away from Mexico.
Sounds like it sounds like we need to fucking move this shit out there.
We're gonna have to.
Well, a lot of people moved out there, my man.
If you could play 2K with any person dead or alive, who would it be?
Big 2K.
My boy Joey. It's always my favorite game is playing with Joey.
Playing with him?
Yeah.
Do you win a lot of the time?
Yeah.
I've won once.
You actually recently won, right?
Damn, that's crazy because I beat him all the time, and he recently beat me one time. So he must have had a week of just a hot hand.
Because it's just throwback vibes. Me and Joe used to play 2K back in the day.
Yeah.
Damn. What was the first 2K you played?
The first 2K I played was 2K1, dude. I had a Dreamcast.
Allen
I was
Iverson?
out there. Allen Iverson on the cover. I still have that game. It's my favorite game.
Yeah, baby.
Don't get me started on 2K.
Oh, man.
Underrated UFC fighter.
I'm going to say Aljamain Sterling, who's fighting this weekend, actually. He's from like the New York area, and a lot of people don't know who he is. He's a champion, and he's from around here, so watch the fight this weekend.
Yeah, I actually know Aljo. I filmed up at his gym. One of the fighters there, I grew up with him in my town. His name Pumi Nakuda. He's a Cage Fury champion, or he was a Cage Fury champion. And I got to meet Longo.
Yeah. Longo.
But yeah, well, who's your favorite UFC fighter?
I don't really have a favorite UFC fighter. I mean, but yeah, Aljo seems cool. Like I've heard podcasts with him on Rogan. And he just has like a cool personality. He's like really down to earth, like intelligent guy. I think he does like real estate.
Yeah, people underestimate.
But people just don't know him. I feel like there's a lot of people that just don't like. You've never heard of Aljamain Sterling, well, other than maybe through working with TP. But yeah, underrated fighter.
Yeah, Joe's heard it all.
Which NBA player you think pulls the most?
Kelly Oubre, good-looking guy, into fashion.
Maybe Jordan Poole.
Jordan Poole just dribbles the ball into the earth.
From what it sounds, about to let him go after that shot he took.
What do you know about this show? You haven't watched any of the Warriors?
Oh, Joe, I talk sports all the time. I mean, both of them.
It's just one year.
Nobody in this office ever knows what I'm talking about.
It's the NBA playoffs, and the Warriors are playing the Lakers. It's a Steph Curry versus
catch them
LeBron
up to
James.
date.
That's crazy.
Rematch.
Game 1?
Oh, game 1 was yesterday.
That's so
Lakers
funny.
won.
I just explained to both of them yesterday, like the storyline between Dylan Brooks and LeBron and the league, and like how it was so so good that LeBron just shut them up and put them to sleep, and how like almost like cinematic of a story it was.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you'd give your younger self?
Just embrace every moment. Just because it's my birthday next week. I'm going to be 32, and in the realm of your entire life, I understand that I'm still a young person, but I'm never going to be in my 20s again, right? So just enjoy your life, every step of it. Don't rush forward. Don't rush to be an adult. As a kid out there, like there's so many kids that are just like, I can't wait till I'm done with high school. I can't wait till I'm done with college. I can't wait till I'm done with this. It's like, if you're always waiting to be done with something, you're never actually in the moment and enjoying that moment. So embrace every moment, and you'll be a lot more happy when you do get older.
Damn. I just want to just be like, send it off right there. But a piece of advice you would give your older self.
Yeah, be in the moment. Enjoy everything.
Perfect.
Where can people find out more about you?
Check out my profile on
www.topics.com.
Where can people find you guys for the best wedding?
WeddingsXEvents.com.
There you go. WeddingsXEvents.com.
Yeah, we shout out we haven't shouted out the weddings page. WeddingsXEvents.com.
WeddingsXEvents.com.
We're pricier now.
Pricier now, but the
quality is fucking sick.
Dope. And honestly,
and we're funny and we're cool to hang out with.
Honestly, I before we go, I guess one thing I want to say about wedding videography, because I feel like people are always down to hire a photographer and not always down to hire a videographer. But honestly, like how many times are you going to look at that picture of you standing in front of some venue that you're never going to go to again with your step aunt? And that takes up a lot of your time. Meanwhile, you could have this video that's a great memorialization of that day of this great day in your life, and you could watch it, and you will watch it multiple times, and a lot of other people will watch it because you'll be able to post it on your social media. So don't not have a video just because you're trying to save some money. Wedding videos are, to me, actually more worthwhile than photography. WeddingXEvents.com.
Boom.
I don't know if should I be the quote? Give us a quote to close us out on that camera.
Give us a quote.
That could have been a
quote or just some,
because you got too many
words of wisdom.
Yeah, always stay prepared and organized. Always be prepared for everything you do in life. I have notes that I came in here with today.
Let's go. Kustra, everybody.